Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'll be presenting a topic on the characteristics of good governance. So let's start with the eight. Now, first one is consensus-oriented, rule of law. Third, transparency. Fourth, responsiveness. Fifth, consensus-oriented. Sixth, equity, inclusiveness. Seventh, effectiveness and efficiency. And number eight, accountability. So starting with participation, what does it mean? Participation is done by both men and women, and it is a key cornerstone of good governance. Participation could be either direct or through legitimate intermediate institutions or representative. It is important to point out that representative democracy does not necessarily mean that the concerns of the most vulnerable in society would be taken into consideration in decision making. Participation needs to be informed and organized. This freedom of association and expression on the one hand, and on organized civil society on the other hand. The second one is the rule of law. Good governance requires fair legal frameworks that are enforced impartially. It also requires full protection of human rights, particularly those of minorities. Impartial enforcement of laws requires an independent judiciary and an impartial, incorruptible police force. The next is transparency. Transparency means that decisions taken and their enforcement are done in a manner that follows rules and regulation. It also means that information is freely available and directly accessible to those who will be affected by such decisions and their enforcement. It also means that enough information is provided and that it is provided in easily understandable forms and media. By the way, these eight characteristics is mainly for corporate governance, and I mean also in governance in the public sector, not only in the corporate governance. Next is responsiveness. Good governance requires that institutions and processes try to serve all stakeholders within a reasonable time frame. The next is consensus-oriented. There are several actors and as many viewpoints in a given society. Good governance requires mediation of the different interests in society to reach a broad consensus in society on what is in the best interest of the whole community and how this can be achieved. It also requires a broad and long-term perspective on what is needed for sustainable human development and how to achieve the goals of such development. This can only result from an understanding of the historical, cultural, and social context of a given society or community. Next is equity and inclusiveness. A society's well-being depends on ensuring that all its members feel that they have a stake in it and do not feel excluded from the mainstream society. This requires all groups, but particularly the most vulnerable, have opportunities to improve or maintain their well-being. The next one is effectiveness and efficiency. This is the seventh of the eight. Good governance means the processes and institutions produce results that meet the needs of society while making the best use of resources at their disposal. The concept of efficiency, the context of good governance, also covers the sustainable use of natural resources and protection of the environment. The last one is accountability. Accountability is a key requirement of good governance, not only on governmental institutions, but also the private sector and civil society organizations, and must be accountable to the public and to the institutional stakeholders. Who is accountable to whom varies depending on whether decisions or actions taken are internal or external to an organization or institution. In general, an organization or an institution is accountable to those who will be affected by its decisions or actions. Accountability cannot be enforced without transparency and rule of law. Take note of this. So these eight characteristics are the characteristics of good governance, mainly on the context of, again, public administration and, governance, particularly on states, nations, and countries. And however, this eight, as we mentioned, this eight characteristics, however, is an ideal, which is, I think, very difficult to achieve in its totality. Very few countries and societies have come close to achieving good governance in its totality. And tell you, no single country, I think, were able to come up with perfectly all of these eight. And to ensure the sustainable human development, actions must be taken to work towards this ideal with the aim of making it a reality. So as an ideal, we have to continue to do actions to fulfill this ideal, making it into a reality. Maybe not now, but somewhere in the future. And always our desire to govern well. And take note that the main focus is all our actions is to ensure sustainable human development. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. See you around.